First up, let's hear from Wayne Rooney, England's all-time leading scorer. He was a guest with Alan Brazil on talkSPORT Breakfast yesterday. He was absolutely brilliant, very clear, very honest about everything he was asked. And let's start with his front three for the first match of the World Cup.
Foden, Saka and obviously Harry Kane. I think Saka's been fantastic again this season for Arsenal. I think Phil Foden's the best player we've got technically. He's the one player who I think, and his form for England hasn't been as good as it has been for Man City, but you just hope that he brings his game to this World Cup. And obviously with Harry Kane, he's your main man in terms of getting goals. So I think with them three, and then you've got the likes of Rashford, Sterling to come on and have an impact.
Legend. Wayne Rooney on talkSPORT Breakfast yesterday. Cass, do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Thought Wayne was really good yesterday in the way he spoke about current form. And it's a bit harsh because of, like I said earlier, with Raheem, but that's why coaches earn their crust, because you've got to make big calls. And Foden has been electric this year for City. And I think he's due a tournament now. It's his time. I thought he would have a really good Euros, and there was a few issues around the Euros. He never quite got going. But it's definitely his time now, Foden, to play. And I think Saka, you don't even have to explain Saka for Arsenal. He's been superb. And Harry Kane's an obvious. So, yes, absolutely. And I think, there'll be a few upset. Raheem will probably, for me, if that was his starting lineup. But if you're talking about merit and performance, Foden has to be in. Yeah,
I mean, that would mean dropping out Sterling. You just don't see in a world which Gareth Southgate does that. Or does he really listen to what's going on around him? Does he look at current form going into this tournament and just change up the game plan?
Well, you have to acknowledge what's happening now. You can have sentiment, but sentiment will take you into dangerous places. You'll make bad decisions. Now, Gareth could be in... Look, why you paid a lot of money as a manager or as a coach? You're paid a lot of money to make big calls. Now, Raheem, if he gets dropped and England have a bad tournament, people will say, well, why did you leave out Sterling, who've done brilliant in the Euros? But they're the calls that Gareth has to make. I would argue that it's a bigger call to put Foden in and trust Foden and leave out Raheem, and that's my call. That's what I believe the right decision today. A year ago, it wasn't.
How do you feel about Marcus Rashford as well? Do you think he's going to get the opportunity at the World Cup?
I think he loves his pace and being able to turn defenders. And I think his form for United in recent months has improved a hell of a lot, but it doesn't get him in the starting lineup. It's still, for me, not enough to get him in that first 11. I think the first 11 picks itself pretty much.
Just quickly, how far do you see England going in this World Cup?
Well, without seeing any games yet, if I'm going on what I've seen so far this year, I would say England could easily be knocked out in the last 16. But being at tournaments twice, you get momentum going, and you find some performances and people step up to the plate. There'll be a surprise. If you said to me the most important player for England, I think is Declan Rice. I think he's vital to the job that he's going to have to do for the team, and that is protect the back four, because England have a lot of good forwards and they have good midfielders, and he's one of them. And obviously 3 very good goalkeepers. Declan Rice's role in the team is vital, that he stops all the ammunition that's coming from the opposition and cuts out a lot of the attacks. I think he's important, and protecting that back four. And not necessarily, I think England have enough players to individually, technical ability to go and hurt the opposition.